Okay, well, I went back and looked at 2 of the reads that I did. The one on picking a pope. Now, on that one, the center card, the overarching thing was about compassion. And the center card was about being out in the cold. Those that were, wait a minute. It could be the compassion about those that are out and seeking aid from the church, rather than the potential pope being outside of spirituality. It would have been more of the compassion, and then the center card was about, being out in the cold. So compassion for those that are needy. Yeah, that card there at first was throwing me off, like, is this a pope they want to choose that's outside of the church? No, it was compassion for those that are seeking relief and seeking aid. So that would go along with the compassion. So that makes more sense now that I go back and look at it again and see, where did I go off on that, So they were looking for someone that had those qualities of compassion, okay, and trying to navigate to a better place, and looking at the issues of, the past issues of pedophilia and all the other stuff that was going on in the churches. Okay. So that's what it was about. And then the other one that I did on the American Cardinal, because I know nothing about, in the very center of the reading was a victory. Okay, so, going through and looking at the reading, it seemed to be pretty, right on the whole thing. So I don't know how I got to the last part of restriction and then saying, oh, he's not going to be chosen. Because actually just going through and looking at the reading itself, I don't know why I came to that conclusion. I think it was just because of the card of restrictions. Some mental restrictions. Yeah, if you're doing readings and you're going in cold, it's good to go back and see, where you've gone off in the reading, what you misinterpreted along the way. Now, the cards looking at that reading look to be pretty on point. The difficulty was my interpretation of part of it. Because, in fact, he is Pope, and he did have the victory. Okay? And the first card out that was driving it all was the card of compassion, somebody that's compassionate. Okay? So, again, if you're learning tarot and you're doing readings and you're going in absolutely blind, nothing, I've never heard of, I'm not Catholic, I don't stay up on the Catholicism, what's going on and the people involved, I know nothing about any of them that were up in the running to be Pope. But I wanted to go back and see, well, where did I misinterpret? What did I see not clearly? What was it there? So again, if you're doing tarot, it's always good to go back and look at your readings and see what was it that got misinterpreted. Look at the reading. Now that I know that he's Pope, I can go back and look at the reading objectively again and just see what was there and then what got misinterpreted. So I'm going to leave that here. Yeah, if you want to see him, go back and look at the American Cardinal reading and then the other reading about picking a new Pope. That one really confused me because the first thing that came out in the center of it was being outside of the church. Lack. Well, it was about having compassion for those that are in need. That's why. And I interpreted that this was about the Pope, but no, this was some of the concerns of the church in choosing a Pope. They wanted somebody that is, going to move the church to a better place, address the pedophilia, that type of thing that was going on in the church, and also somebody that is caring for those that are outside, okay, and that are looking for aid, okay? So, yeah, go back and look at it with fresh eyes and reevaluate the readings as to the cards that are there, and having a little more information now, being able to go back and adjust what was being seen, into a better interpretation as to what is taking place. So I'll leave that here.